Welcome to the Brockport High School Library website. It is from here that you can navigate your way to many resources that will ensure you have the tools you need to be successful with regard to research and writing in high school. The library website is organized in a very user-friendly, intuitive way. The key things that you're going to be using the most I have placed in the center of the library website so that you have easy access to them. There are other links to other resources on the right-hand side, and of course there's our Twitter account on the bottom, so if you'd like to follow us, feel free. The style manual, I would like to point out, even though you have a print copy, it is also available online. So if you're ever in a position where you need to research something really quickly, a citation, or you need to find a transition or something in the style manual and you don't have yours with you, you can access the online version on the website. I do want to take a minute to look at the library catalog, Destiny. We're not going to talk about this in too much depth because you probably all are used to using catalogs and have been using them for many years. But I do want to point out a couple of features that you might not be aware of. To access the catalog, you click on the Catalog tab and it will take you to a basic search. This is probably something you're all familiar with. What you may not be familiar with is the power search or an advanced search. It is from here that you can combine terms and subject headings and perhaps narrow your searches and make it more sophisticated and more specific. So let me give you an example. Let's say your science teacher is having you study global warming, but he or she would like you to read fiction books on global warming so that you can see how it's portrayed in literature in a fictional way, to see if it's accurate and true to what global warming really is. If you were just to type in global warming, you would get more results than you really need to go through. But if you just take an extra step and do a more power-like search and typed in global warming and fiction, you would narrow your results so that you would get only the fiction books related to global warming. And you can see a lot of them come up in the fantasy and science fiction section. And then we have the regular fiction. And then we have ebooks. At any time, you can click on the title and find out more about the book. On the right-hand side, it tells you whether or not it's available. You can add it to a list if you want to save the list. But that is a way to combine search terms in a sophisticated way that you might not be used to from your elementary school, but you might need to use now that you're in high school and doing a little bit more detailed research projects. So that's just a little thing about Destiny that I wanted to point out. And now I would like to take a minute just to talk about the library databases. Get you back to the library homepage. Okay, the online databases are linked right in the top left-hand corner. These are organized in a couple of different ways, but just as a kind of a reinforcement or a recap, let's just define what a database is. A database is an online program that we have access to, that we pay to have access to, that will give you access to all kinds of originally print material that has been digitized and put online. So things like magazine articles, newspapers, reference books have been digitized, and these various companies that we subscribe to provide that material online for you to use and access 24/7. So they really are a beautiful thing. And to be honest, databases are where you're going to go to do most of your research in the high school. So we organize them in a lot of different ways. We have about 75 databases in our library in the high school. A typical college library like SUNY Brockport has about 250. So you can see, although we have a good amount, we don't have nearly as much as they would have at a college, but it's a good place to get started. So you could access all databases in alphabetical order. This is where we list them all, and you can certainly go through them and decide which ones would be helpful to you, and they're all listed here. Or you can be a little bit more thoughtful about it and use the browse by subject option. And let me give you an example. let's say your history teacher comes in and says, your global teacher, and you're going to do a research project on ancient China. Well, you can certainly go to all the databases in alphabetical order and scroll through until you find some that deal with ancient history in China. But a shortcut and a little bit more sophisticated search strategy would be to click on databases by subject. You know you're searching for a history topic, so you click on history. And now we have a much narrower pool to choose from, and you can tell at a glance which databases would be helpful for an ancient history project and which ones would not. So the first one, ABC CLIO World History Ancient and Medieval Eras, would certainly be helpful, whereas something like America's Historical Newspapers would not, because it's dealing with American issues. Something like World History in Context might be helpful because it covers documents from 5,000 years from antiquity to the present, whereas something like U.S. History in Context would not, because that's dealing with U.S. history. So you need to be thoughtful. You need to look at the titles and read the descriptions, and it will get you to where you need to go in a more specific, pointed way. Instead of floundering around looking at 75 databases hoping you find one that's helpful, you can search by subject area, carefully read the titles and the descriptions, and choose 2 or 3 databases that you know will be helpful. And just a little hint, some of this you might need to answer your form and your questions to help rescue the library. So to go back to our library website, just to point out a couple of other things. The search for other library catalogs will take you to our interlibrary loan option. You might need to do that when you're doing a larger research project. And I do want to point out this last point is the research consultation form. This is a new option that we have. It's a form that you can fill out, and on the form you can take a minute to fill out your name and your grade, and you can make an appointment to meet with me. We could talk online, we could talk through email, we can meet in person. This might be extremely helpful when it's time for you to do your research project and you need a little bit of extra help. Keep in mind, if you're in a class of 25 students and you're in the library with your teacher and myself, there are 2 or 3 of us to go around to help you. If you make a consultation appointment with me, you can get one-on-one help at your convenience. So this is an option. Just put it in the back of your mind when you might need it for a later time, and hopefully it will come in handy. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about on the library website. Just to reiterate, I want you to know that to the library catalog, you might want to take advantage of the power searching. Keep that in mind. The style manual is available online if you should need it, if you don't have your print one with you. And the online databases and ebooks are something that you will probably use a lot of throughout your high school career. And if you go on to college, absolutely that will be the expectation. And we will talk more about them and give you more details about them as you come in to do your research projects. One last thing I wanted to point out is the suggest a book option. If you have a favorite author or a favorite book that you would like us to purchase, if you click on this link and go to the form and fill that out, we'll be happy to look at the book, and if we can, we'll purchase it for you, and you will be the first one to get it when it comes in, so that's kind of cool. And the last thing I wanted to point out are some citation videos that we have online. If you are ever stuck on how to cite a particular kind of source, you can click on the citation video link, and there are links to all of the common citations, and you could watch these videos if you're a more visual learner and this works better for you. This could be a good option. So if you have any other questions or anything that else you want to know about the library, please let me know. But I hope there's enough information in this video that will get you on your way. And I think there's going to be things in here that you're going to need to answer the forms and solve the clues to rescue the library and rescue the librarians and unlock the library.